are surging. The industry has expanded its presence to more than 100 countries, including the US, the United Kingdom, Germany, and even China. According to industry data a few years ago, made in China toys were ruling the Indian market, but not anymore. Meanwhile, Apple plans to open its fourth iPhone production plant in our country by the end of this year. As per reports, the Tata Group's big Made in India Apple iPhone plan is set to begin production in November this year and is anticipated to invest about 6,000 crore rupees and provide jobs to more than 50,000 people in the plant. Now, according to RBI data, net foreign direct investment or FDI has risen to $6.9 billion in Q1. Manufacturing, financial services, communication services, computer services and electricity, along with some other energy sectors, have accounted for about 80% of the gross foreign direct investment inflows into the country. Northeast Frontier Railway has introduced advanced water level monitoring system on trains. Brahmaputra Mail to be the first to be equipped with this monitoring system. This innovative system marks a major step forward in water management in long distance trains. And months after the ODI World Cup 2023 final heartbreak, former batting coach Vikram Rathore has recalled how words of motivation from the Prime Minister lifted the players' moods in the dressing room, their spirits in the dressing room, and says that's what a real leader truly is. Let's move on, ladies and gentlemen, and then talk about the main debate, the big story, and that continues to be around women's safety, around what's happening in Kolkata, the RG Medical College, the 31-year-old trainee doctor who was raped, who was sexually assaulted, then murdered brutally. And now the top court of our country has taken suo motu cognizance, and the courts have come down very, very heavily. Over 10 days have passed and protests across the country are only growing more intense over what happened at the RG Medical College. While Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister, has conveniently labelled the anger and outrage against her and her administration as a political conspiracy, the allegations and unresolved aspects of the case point squarely at the missteps of those under her aegis, because she is also the Health Minister and Home Minister of the state of Bengal. Now, earlier in the day, the top court, the Supreme Court, came down heavily on the Bengal government for the delay in registering an FIR and destruction of the crime scene. After the Supreme Court's order, a scuffle also broke out between police personnel and ABVP protesters who demanded the resignation of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. Looks like the state government has not paid heed to the Supreme Court's order, which earlier in the day had asked the state to refrain from unleashing its power on peaceful protesters. Bengal witnessing an unprecedented wave of protests, with the state's chief minister facing intense and extraordinary pressure like never before. The larger question, though, is, given the observations by the top court of the country, given the protests on the street, Bengal, is it now truly unsafe for Betis? Let's now look at how the Mamata government has faced the top court's ire through the day. Earlier in the day. Now, while questioning the delay in filing of the FIR, the top court asked the state government, why did the principal try to pass the incident off as suicide initially? Why were parents not allowed to see their daughter's body and were made to wait for hours? Referring to the RG ex-principal Sandeep Ghosh, given the charge of Kolkata National Medical College soon after he resigned from RG Medical College, the top court questioned the rehabilitation decision of the state government and why. The SC further cited that if the autopsy was done by 4:45 p.m. and the body was taken for cremation at 8:30 p.m., then why was the FIR registered only at 11:45 p.m. the subsequent day? Why did no one at the hospital initially bother to register an FIR? The Supreme Court also wondered, was it not clear by the autopsy that what was already done, that this was a case of rape and murder? Then why was this entire suicide theory pushed, and why weren't the assaulters immediately nabbed? Many questions that were asked. And also the suggestion to set up a national task force to ensure safety in workplaces. The victims' parents also made some very, very massive allegations against the principal and the entire department and the state administration. They spent a few hours engaging with the CBI and answered some of their questions, and the parents have alleged that a deliberate attempt was made to destroy evidence. This is something that they have stated even in the Kolkata High Court. Parents have alleged that the principal and the entire department was involved in the conspiracy leading to their daughter's death. They are also claiming that their daughter was cremated in haste, further adding up to the destruction of the evidence theory. The parents have also questioned the role of the cops on how they tried to close the entire matter quickly and hush up the matter or bury the whole incident, perhaps. They have also highlighted the fact that the Chief Minister has tried every possible step to stop the growing protest demanding justice for their daughter. Is Bengal safe for Betis? And what Sandesh Khali didn't, will the Arjikar incident do in terms of proving to be the undoing of Mamata Banerjee and her government in Bengal in their failure overall over the years to protect Bengal's women? That's the larger question. Shatarupaji, spokesperson of the Bengal BJP with us, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, scientist and also political commentator with us, and Anirban Banerjee, political analyst. Namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you very, very much. Dr. Ranganathan, what do you make of the Supreme Court's comments today? The hearing continues and they have not even come up to the vandalism aspect of it yet.
Good evening, Anand, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Look, the revelations that have come out from the Supreme Court proceedings today, I'm afraid, Anand, are nothing short of shocking. In any civilized country, heads would have rolled by now. Anand, seldom can one feel the sense of outrage and helplessness as one does now upon learning that the FIR was registered a full 10 hours after autopsy and a full 3 hours after the body was handed over for cremation. But that's not all. Cruelly, it was filed not by the principal of the medical college where the rape and murder took place, but by the father of the deceased. The father filed the FIR. The father was the first respondent. This came out today. This was asked by the Supreme Court Judge Pardiwala and was clarified by the Bengal Council, Mr. Sibal. The father filed the FIR, not the principal. And this very principal was then rewarded with headship of Kolkata National Medical College, one of the India's most prestigious medical colleges. Anand, seldom can one feel the sense of outrage and helplessness as one does now upon learning that on the very day we celebrated our independence, an army of goons, 7,000 and not 40 as was claimed by some YouTuber. These goons and thugs beat up protesting doctors, destroyed medical equipment, tried to climb up girls' hostel through the back, and instead of nabbing them, the West Bengal police was busy chasing doctors who were tweeting on the incident and forcing them to read their tweets. Seldom can one feel the sense of outrage and helplessness as one does now, Anand, upon learning that the Chief Minister of Bengal, who is also the Health Minister, ratified the transfer of 42 doctors and 150 nurses, many of whom were actually protesting. She took back this order after much outrage. Anand, seldom can one feel the sense of outrage and helplessness as one does now upon learning that Dr. Kunal Sarkar, a renowned cardiac surgeon, adjunct faculty at Imperial College London, world's leading authority on Lima CABG, was summoned to a police station over his angst-ridden and distraught remarks over the rape. Anand, I cannot believe, honestly, I cannot believe our country can be so cruel towards our doctors. They are the real heroes. Have we forgotten already that 1,600 of them died during COVID, saving our lives? Have we forgotten that 75% of Indian doctors have faced physical violence while on duty? But as I said, it's not about what you or I believe, Anand. We can only watch, not act. In this, I'm afraid, we also have something in common with our Prime Minister Modi. He also is only watching, not acting.
There's a lot of angst and there's a lot of ire, but in this case, law and order is a subject of the state. And in this case, the expectation is from Ms. Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister, the Health Minister, the Home Minister of the state of Bengal, who has perhaps the most popular and unprecedented mandate with which she continues to govern Bengal. That's her responsibility. Anirban, your response to Anand Ranganathan.
Along with a lot of this and that, there is also a lot of misinformation propagated either willfully or unknowingly, I do not know. Even you were not free from that particular problem this time regarding the timing of the FIR file, etc., etc. Too much lies are being spread around. An FIR of unnatural death was registered as soon as the issue came to light. And that was done by the hospital administration, and the Calcutta High Court actually questioned why an FIR of unnatural death and not of murder or rape, etc. So that FIR was not lodged until 10 hours after autopsy, as Anand Ranganathan was claiming, is completely false, because the autopsy took place at around 6 p.m., at around 5:30 to 6 p.m. To be exact, and the inquest was done in the afternoon. The unnatural death case was already registered even before the inquest started. It was only converted to FIR of murder and rape after the inquest report confirmed the same. So these kind of misinformations, I'll really request everyone to refrain from that. Fight TMC or the state government politically, you have every right to do so. But in this case, when Anand was also referring to the summoning of a few doctors, the specific case of Kunal Sarkar, I am not very sure what he posted, but there was another doctor, Dr. Subarna Goswami, who was also summoned alongside Dr. Kunal Sarkar. I will categorically mention that Dr. Subarna Goswami intentionally lied about the post-mortem report and later retracted from his words only after he was summoned by the police. Therefore, if some people are trying to lie knowingly to confuse the masses, to lead them astray, to instigate them, then the police will have to act. Nobody had the post-mortem report in their hands except for the police, the doctors and the families, and yet there were a number of people floating around the theory of 151 grams of semen. Even some mainstream media channels actually reported that as facts. So these, I do not know whether you will consider these as criminal acts or not, but this is something you should not do. The girl, the victim, has been brutally murdered, brutally raped. That has been confirmed by the inquest report and later on by the PM report as well. But what are you really getting out of spreading these kind of misinformation, false information? You are actually dishonoring the victim over and over again. We can fight all we want to, the BJP, CPIM, Congress, etc., TMC. These political fights go on throughout the year and will again take place. But at least for this girl, for this victim girl, can we not stop playing petty politics and really demand that a proper investigation, a proper trial takes place? The real culprits, whoever they might be, they actually go behind bars. That is something we all can demand. Politics can come later.
Right. Now, Anirban, appreciate, please. Yeah, sure, I'm coming to. Appreciate the sentiment that you have expressed, Anirban. But there are a few points that we would all like to make. But first, Dr. Ranganathan, since your entire claim has been challenged, Shatarupaji, coming to you after that. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan.
Thank you, Anand, and thank you, Anirban Da. I really respect him. He is a wonderful friend and very erudite. But he must know something by now. And it's been years. I have never ever talked without facts. So let me now here quote the judges of the Supreme Court verbatim. Okay, this is from Law Live. This is direct proceedings of the Supreme Court, Anand. Justice Pardiwala, quote, who is the first informant who filed the FIR? What is the time of the FIR? Sibbal, who is the counsel for Bengal. First father of deceased and then VP of the hospital. Justice Pardiwala, whose complaint came first? Sibbal, father, 11:45 p.m. Now this is Justice Chandrachud. What time was the body handed over for cremation? Counsel, 8:30 p.m. Chief Justice Chandrachud, FIR filed 3 hours after the body handed over? Chief Justice Chandrachud, between 1:45 to 4 p.m. autopsy took place. Chief Justice Chandrachud, autopsy reveals that this is case where doctor is murdered. The FIR is registered at 11:45 p.m. What was the principal board in the hospital doing? So Anirban Da, will you please apologize and take back your words? The father was the one who was the first respondent as accepted by Mr. Sibbal himself.
Now here is the thing. What has happened is, Anirban has started what is said in the Kolkata High Court. You have quoted what Mr. Sibbal, representing the Bengal government, stated in the Honorable Supreme Court.
Yes.
Now, very interestingly, there is a variance in what the Bengal government suggested and presented in the Kolkata High Court and what the Kolkata High Court noted. And there is a variance in what the Bengal government's counsel, Mr. Sibbal, seems to have presented to the Honorable Bench in the Honorable Supreme Court.
My God, this is contempt of court.
There is no variance. There is no variance. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because when the incident came to light, it was around I think 9:30 to 10 a.m. in the morning. After that, the CP of Kolkata police, he rushed to the spot with other officials, and in a due process, an unnatural death case, what we say as UD case, was filed at the Tala police station. I do not know of the exact time, but it must have been around noon. So
Correct.
after that, it wasn't the autopsy that actually took place for between that time. It was the inquest that took place in the presence of a magistrate. It was videographed. I don't know, maybe words have been missed by the counsel, I am not very sure. The autopsy took place in the evening time after the inquest was done.
But you would agree, Anirban,
Anirban,
that the rape and murder and the incident came to light not that day, the noon that you talk about when the Kolkata police commissioner came. That was when there was uproar.
It was in the morning time.
Happened in the VR. It happened in the VRs. The incident took place in the hospital in the VRs. The parents were informed the previous night at 10:53 p.m.
Yes.
And then the body was handed over, or they were allowed to see the mortal remains of their daughter only at 3 a.m. And at that time, what was told by the hospital?
No, not the previous night, that morning, not the previous night.
So, what was the hospital's version? What was the hospital's version? First version to the hospital. The hospital.
That is the part I was trying to.
What did the hospital try?
Somebody from the hospital. Somebody from the hospital claiming himself or herself to be the assistant super called up the family members of the victim and said that it was a case of suicide. That is a mysterious thing.
Did the principal counter that?
Did the
principal Sandeep Ghosh immediately counter that when the parents came?
Let me complete that point.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me complete. So that particular caller, the identity of that particular caller, even the CBI, it has been already 8 days. We should actually question the CBI about the identity of that particular caller in this case. We all want to know.
Okay. Now, just 1 second. I'm just saying, is the principal Sandeep Ghosh anywhere on record owning up immediately to the parents that it is actually a rape and sexual assault? It's a sexual assault and murder case. Did the principal ever call the cops and say, "Come here immediately, there's something very, very drastic that's happened"? Did the principal not order renovation around the same time when they're supposed to be, the entire area supposed to be marked out to ensure safety of evidence? No. The other thing. My simple question, Shatrupa has not yet spoken. 1 second, Shatrupa ji. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, and then I'll go to Shatrupa ji. We've not allowed her to speak at all. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry I'm taking Shatrupa ji's time, but I promise I won't take more than 20 seconds. I'm very thankful to Anirban Da. Also, we're having a very tempered discussion because this is a very serious matter. Will Anirban Da accept what I quoted verbatim of Justice Pardiwala, Supreme Court judge, and Mr. Sibbal's response? Will he accept that Mr. Sibbal was telling the truth when he said that the father was the first informant and FIR was lodged at 11:45 p.m.? Yes or no, sir? Anirban Da, yes or no?
As I told you, it's a process that when a body is discovered, in this case, an unnatural death case was registered by the police, by the Tala police station. I'm telling you, it has been presented before the Calcutta High Court as well. But when it transforms into an FIR of specific identity of a person and whatever happened, murder or rape in this case, then you consider it as an FIR upon which you are again beginning the investigation.
Correct, but that was that. But that actual one should have come from the. It should have come from the point being made is it should have come from the hospital. It came from the father.
By the principal, yes, that I agree.
That's the point. Now, Shatrupa ji, the other point. Shatrupa, the other. Thank you for your patience. Now, in this case, why is it that we see so many people out on the streets, not just in Kolkata, all across Bengal? And this seems to be the middle class, that which generally stays away from all of this, keeps the door closed, shuts it down, does not want to get into any politics. That's the crowd that we are seeing out. And they were there out for 10 to 15 days before the matter even was taken seriously by the government itself.
No, Anand, first of all, it is very true that this entire incident cutting across political lines. I mean, this is one time that we really don't need to do BJP and Trinamool and CPM and Congress, because now I think the entire judgment has gone on to the public, not only of Kolkata, not only of West Bengal, not only of India, it has even reached international quarters, and everybody is angry, and the only thing that they're saying is we demand justice. Now, why? That's your question. I think it is because of the innumerable amount of atrocities on women. Yes, it has happened all over India. I'm not going to deny that. But when it happens in West Bengal, you have a woman chief minister who's constantly denouncing these things, even often trying to normalize rape with insensitive comments like either it is a sajano ঘটনা or দুষ্টু ছেলেরা করে ফেলেছে, naughty boys have just about entertained themselves, or one 14-year-old girl, when she gets raped, the chief minister on a different forum asks to find out whether she was having an affair, whether she was pregnant. This time, I think the people of West Bengal were expecting, or are saying, people all over, I would say, are saying that enough is enough. Now, Mamata Banerjee should have acted a little more sensitively, which she pretended to for the first, I think, 24 hours. Contrary to Mamata Banerjee's characteristic response, she almost ran. She didn't waste any time. She ran over to the parents of the victim to tell them that, look, your daughter has died, and this, mind you, Anand, I am not making up. This, the chief minister has said in another forum that I went to the parents, I told them that, your daughter is gone, there's absolutely nothing to be done. So why don't you accept 10 lakhs and let sleeping dogs lie? That was when people started getting angry. Plus, you have this Shondip Ghosh, who even Mr. Ranganathan was mentioning. Shondip Ghosh, who is the head of Arjikar, early in the morning, somebody from his office, somebody allied to him, had called up the parents and initially said that something's happened to your daughter, then went on to say your daughter has committed suicide, which was absolutely supported by the police commissioner of West Bengal, of Kolkata. And that is where people started getting even more angrier. Then what is the cover-up happening? This man, Shondip Ghosh, is asked to resign from Arjikar and put into National Medical in a matter of 4 hours. People started asking more questions. Doctors from Arjikar started asking that here you have a health minister for over 13 years now. There are no CCTVs. There are no basic security personnel on the premises of Arjikar. And while on the subject, I will take one line. I will just add one line. Dr. Shukanto Mojumdar, our state president, had written to the health minister, who is the chief minister, who is the police minister, that there are some 16 points of discrepancies that have come to our notice, among which there are 13 points. I'm not going into all 13 points. A sex racket, illegal selling of vital organs of a human body, reselling and reusing disposable items like syringes and gloves. 1 year went by. This letter has gone in 2023. Health minister did nothing. Now, when the police commissioner comes on the scene and says these things, and then 24 hours, a few days later, when on the 14th, when the rampage that you're talking about, police commissioner puts up his hands and says that I don't have enough resources. So therefore, if a police minister who's there for 13 years has not been able to provide the police commissioner with adequate resources to handle a mob in Kolkata, well, what are people of West Bengal going to do? Coming back to the girl, to the victim, I think Ranganathan ji added that there was a tearing hurry to cover up evidence. Have you ever seen, Anand, in a crime scene, police did not even bother to secure the crime scene. There was no red ribbon saying, don't cross this. Nobody was detained for questioning. We were not asking for arrest. But we didn't see police even trying to. Shondip Ghosh, instead of being transferred to another hospital, should have habitually been handed over to the police. Police should have done some initial questioning. He's the head of Arjikar. He should have known. No. He went on a rampage saying, what is the girl doing there at night? Why was she on night duty? Why was she loitering around? He's the head. He knows very well this poor girl was put through a 36-hour duty hours, and there is absolutely no room for any of the on-call doctors to rest in that hospital. So therefore, people are angry. People everywhere are angry. This is not confined to BJP only. Yes, we are demanding resign Mamata. Mamata Banerjee has no moral right to continue. And this demand, mind you, Anand, again, this is not confined only to BJP. Everyone is saying we demand justice, we demand Mamata's resignation.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have run out of time at the moment, but this is not something that this matter is going to go away, because I think there is just that they say, no, that it's just blown off. This is that final tipping point where things have just gone. It's an inflection point. Sadly, it's happening at a hospital who's named after somebody who walked from street to street, village to village, Radha Gobindakar, along with Sister Nivedita, giving out cure to those who needed it. And not just cure, but along with that money also to buy more medicines. That's the history and story from British Bengal times that Radha Gobindakar and Sister Nivedita did. And that's when this institution, and that's whom after this institution has been named, and then it was set up as a care facility where nobody would be sent back. And look what has happened to, what has come to pass at this place. That there were people who wanted to just break this place down. There were people who were sent to destroy, demolish, break this place, perhaps in a way to try and spoil DNA evidence or any other semblance of possibility of trying to identify what actually was going around. Out of those 13 points, 2 or 3 other points were perhaps more important, and in the days to come, more light will be thrown on those aspects, as Shatrupaji mentioned. I have to wind up for the moment, but thank you very much for joining us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, it's shocking. It's shocking. But from Bengal, we will now shift the attention and spotlight